Welcome back. In this particular video, we're going to be discussing SVCA. SVCA stands for subject, predicator, complement, and adjunct. SPCA. All right. The reason why I said V earlier on is because the P also stands for a V. We'll find out. So the S here represents subject, the B represents predicator, otherwise known as verb. The C represents complement, otherwise known as object. Then the A is your adjunct. All right. Let's dive right into it. What is a subject? Now, it's important that we understand this particular video or the topic critically well, because it has a way of giving us foundation or basis into other areas of English grammar. All right, so that topic is English grammar. All right, so what's a subject? A simple definition by one of our textbooks says a subject refers to a person or thing that performs an action in a sentence. A subject refers to a person or thing that performs an action in a sentence. All right, for example, if I say Tade slaps Tunde, or if I say Chidima fights Chisom, all right, Tade slaps Tunde, Chidima fights Chisom. All right, so subject there, according to our definition, which says a person or thing that performs an action, the subject in those two sentences will be what? Right. For the first sentence, it's going to be what? Tade. And for the second sentence, it's going to be what? Chidima. Very good. So a subject is a person or thing that performs an action in a sentence. All right. However, in every sentence, right, there is always an action. Like we have mentioned, right? If there's someone performing an action, the action performed itself in itself, right, is known as the P, the predicator, all right, or verb. So predicators are verb. Altogether, they're verb. So the action in itself is the predicator. And for the sentences that I've used earlier on, the first one, Tade slaps Tunde, the action there is what? Slaps. All right. Then for the other one, Chidima fights Chisom, the action there is what? Fights. All right. So that is that under the predicator, otherwise known as what? The verb. The next one is complement. Complement. You see, when an action is made in a sentence, the action is always moving from a doer to a receiver. From a doer to a receiver. So complement is otherwise known as what? Object. And what is object? An object is a person or thing receiving an action in a sentence. A person or thing receiving an action in a sentence. So when we use them, going by our example, Tade slaps Tunde, all right, or Chidima fights Chisom. So for the first example, the complement there or the fellow receiving the action there is Tunde, while for the second example is what? Chisom. Good. So they are receivers of the action, otherwise known as what? Complement. Now it will mostly, it doesn't have to be names all the time, but have it at the back of your mind that any action, whatever the action is directed to, okay,